Thank you for joining me. Brand image, customer experience, customer engagements. Now a little video this time. Talking to a client earlier this morning, and we were talking about setting aside time to read about your industry. Now you're going to say, and what's this got to do with brand and image and customer engagement? Well, the most important people are the customers, and the most important people are your staff. They are the assets, and they're the two that interact. Now, the bonus with your customers is they have the whole world to understand what's going on in your industry. Now, when they start talking to your staff, they expect somebody with knowledge. Now, we've spoken about this before. In the motor trade, people go in to buy a car, and I'm going to use the Ford branch. People see a Ford sign outside the garage, they go in, they want to buy a Ford, they complain to Ford. Trouble is that garage is only selling on behalf of Ford. It's got its own brand and its own identity. So in some respects, you as a business owner need to be well read and well versed in your industry. Now, for example, I got asked just to do this little video, literally what I had on the countertop. So here you are. First magazine I get to read monthly, Commercial Dealer. I deal a lot with the haulage and the transport sectors, so that's the first one. That's all about moving and shifting and working in, well, what is the commercial vehicle sector. Next one is the motor trade. Obviously you can see on the front the big trucks. They are basically the two that I will go to first to find out what's happening inside the industry that I work in. Next one is, obviously, you know, I do an awful lot with the motorbike. So I mentioned this one before. This is the Dealer News. It's the industry magazine, and obviously it's full, basically talks about what products are coming up, what legal legislation's coming up, what different businesses, the main brands are trying to do. And obviously we're in various different quarters for selling the electric scooters, the electric bikes, such like, and what's happening in London with the electric systems and where they're going to go and their distances. Now, moving on from that, the other two I read, and I've got the two here, one you've noticed in my last video, is Institute of Director with Young Christian on. Now, these are the two that I get, well, I get them regularly every month from the Institute of Directors. It comes back to a simple thing. I'm not plugging any of them, but what I'm showing you is I like to read them. I like to understand what's going on in my industry, but I also like to understand what's going on in other industries. So a little tip, and you'll laugh at this, and one of my clients did it the other week. Every time I've got a bit of free time, I go shopping. We all do. I just pick a magazine off the shelf. Now you're not going to say, and that's a waste of time. No. I've read this year, I've got Mountain Bike Magazine, Sailing Magazine, obviously I have shooting magazines, Model Car Magazine, House and Fashion Magazine. Every time I get a magazine and I'll read it, I take that time to have some quiet time to read, to understand what's going on in different sectors, because the more I know, the more knowledge I've gained, the more I can help my clients. And you're going to say, how do you get that, Ant? I said, well, put it this way. I can read the Directors magazines, very high end, and obviously mindset, Christian Horner, and it talks about the mindset, talks about how he grows his business, where he's taking his references from. So I pick up the Motor Trade magazine and I'm understanding what big businesses is doing, what the contracts they're going up for, what Stobart's doing, what businesses are up for sale, why are the warehousing doing well, what are the docks doing, how is all this juggling around with the Brexit thing to make the British haulage industry back on top and the greatest it is. But then you start looking at some of the other magazines, and the mountain bike one, Cycle Paths, Cycle Access, Fitness Access. Then they started talking about the road network, and I'm saying, whoa, hang on, I've got road network in here, and all of a sudden we're talking a road network in the mountain bikes. Different perspective. All of a sudden now we've got a complete story of what local councils and governments are spending on cycle highways. So it was bearing in mind that now I've got a complete figure from what the councils and the government are saying. So when I talk to my motor trade people, I'm more informed. Now, if I can do this, so can some of your customers. And your customers have got more time than you because obviously they've got their other things to do. So I want you to bear in mind, And I've said this time and time again, readers are leaders and leaders are readers. As long as you're reading and keeping up to date with what's happening, not just in one magazine, but obviously in two. So there's two completely different comparisons. So what I'm trying to get at is you need to understand. You need to enable, I mean, I leave these on the side for anybody to read, because the more they read, the more they understand. Then when you have a conversation with somebody, I'm there. So Institute of Directors, Harvard Business Reviews, anything you can read that is going to give you an edge in your business. Because you might read something in one of them magazines, and I have over the last couple of days, and I'm going back to one of my haulage companies and saying, what do you think to this? Let's have a little bit of a chat. Have you read this? Will this impact on your business? Because you're paying me as a consultant to develop your business. Now, I'm trying to work with you to go this way, but if you implement that, because that's legislation, you're now going to have to change your business. And if you're going to change your business and take on an MOT bay, you have to have different space and different. So the design that you've come up with for your layout isn't going to work if you change this legislation in a year's time. So let's start thinking ahead and working ahead and making better plans, because we are better informed. So that's what I'm trying to ask you today. So it's going to be a little simple video. Readers are leaders and leaders are readers. The more informed you are, the better decisions you make. And obviously, like me as a consultant, you've just seen, that's a handful that I've literally got on my desk. Understanding what's going on in my industry and then talking to people in my industry gives me more knowledge and gives me more power, because the more power I've got in my mind to make better informed decisions, choices, and create better ideas. So with that in mind, I'm going to have the coffee, chat to the girls, and then we're going to go back out for this afternoon. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.